I mean, I want to play in the WNBA, but I know I have a career outside of it.
In her boldest and most unapologetic statement yet, Angel Reese announces she is done with the WNBA. She accuses league insiders, executives, and even fellow players of enabling racism in the league. She isn't leaving quietly. She's naming names and pointing fingers at those she claims are at the center of it all. Let's break it down. Exposing the WNBA. Angel Reese has made it clear that she's done. And it's not just with the Chicago Sky. She's walking away from the WNBA entirely.
I mean, I want to play in the WNBA, but I know I have a career outside of it. I mean, I'm not in no rush.
That was months ago, before the back injury drama, before the skipped games against Caitlin Clark, before she started vanishing from the team altogether. Back then, it sounded casual. Play here, don't play there, no big deal. But now, those words feel like the opening chapter in a story that's turned dark. Because according to Reese, the ugly truth is this: she's not just stepping away because of injuries or burnout. She's walking away because she's sick of what's happening behind the curtain, where marketing money, racial double standards, and personal grudges dictate who gets protected and who gets destroyed. And if you've been paying attention, the signs were always there. The first red flag, the way the league and media outlets treated her rivalry with Caitlin Clark. Reese says it was never just friendly competition. Behind the smiles and highlight reels, she felt every handshake, every headline, every sponsorship deal leaned heavily toward Clark. Not because of performance alone, but because Clark's image was more marketable to a certain audience. Even Stephen A. Smith didn't sugarcoat it.
Now, we can get into the white-black dynamic because inevitably that's inescapable in terms of you being white, and as a result, it's contributing to your marketability more so than an Angel Reese.
Reese took that personally. And she's not alone. Several WNBA players, both publicly and privately, have hinted at the same thing. If you fit a certain profile, you get the primetime interviews, the face of the league billing, the benefit of the doubt when things go south. If you don't, you're on your own. So when Angel says she's walking away, it's not just because her back hurts. It's because she's done playing a game she thinks is rigged before tip-off. Now, here's where it gets even more suspicious. This season, Reese's absence has been one of the most mysterious in WNBA history. No clear diagnosis, no recovery timeline, no obvious moment when the injury happened. Just the same recycled phrase from coaches and PR reps day to day. Critics have been circling for months, accusing Reese of load management that would Kawhi. Make Kawhi Leonard blush. Except, as one commentator put it, Kawhi at least has medical receipts. This is worse because there's zero transparency. But while she was too hurt to play in big rivalry games, especially against Clark, she somehow managed to be healthy enough for All-Star Weekend photo ops, brand appearances, and endorsement shoots. Critics pounced on the hypocrisy. Commentators openly questioned if she was using the injury as cover for something else. And in her new tell-all style interviews, Reese isn't denying it. She's flipping the script, accusing the league of weaponizing her absence to make her look unreliable while shielding their chosen stars from scrutiny. She points to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse incident as a perfect example. According to Reese, she was warned about security issues in Indiana, a subtle message, she claims, that wasn't about safety at all, but about keeping her off that court against Caitlin Clark. Critics called it paranoia, others called it a PR stunt, but Reese says it's exactly the kind of backroom manipulation that made her lose trust in the league entirely. And when she hears fans say she quit on Chicago, her response is simple. You can't quit something that was never set up for you to win. But here's the part nobody was ready for. Reese isn't just walking away quietly. She's naming names, pointing to what she calls a double standard culture in the WNBA that not only fails to protect Black women, but actively undermines them when they get too popular, too outspoken, or too independent from league control. In her words, if you don't play their game, they'll make sure you don't get to play the game. And the receipts? They're coming. She's teased that she's holding on to messages, emails, and behind-the-scenes footage that prove just how deep the bias runs. Whether she actually drops them is still up in the air, but the threat alone has executives scrambling. That's why this moment matters so much. This isn't just one player leaving a team. This is a 22-year-old star telling the world she's seen enough, and she's willing to burn bridges on her way out if it means exposing what she calls the WNBA's racial gatekeeping. And you can bet the league knows how dangerous that could be. Because if Reese follows through, we won't just be talking about a back injury anymore. We'll be talking about a scandal that could shake the foundation of the entire sport. Reese isn't happy. Right now, in her version of events, those whispers about her commitment aren't organic. She says they're fed, whispered to friendly reporters, amplified by anonymous sources, and circulated just enough to plant the seed in fans' minds that she's unreliable. Why? Because a player who's seen as problematic is easier to sideline, easier to trade, and easier to erase from marketing campaigns. And when you connect the dots, it's hard to ignore the pattern. And of course, we are going to do just that. Let's begin by going back to that early season slump, the one critics hammered her for, with layup percentages barely scratching 28%. On paper, it's a brutal stat line. On social media, it was a feat feeding frenzy. But here's the kicker. Reese says she was already dealing with back stiffness at that point, quietly getting treatment between games. The team, she claims, told her to play through it until the losing streak got bad enough that it was more convenient to have her off the court than missing easy shots on it. Whether you buy that explanation or not, here's what is undeniable. Once All-Star voting hit, Reese suddenly went on a tear, playing her best basketball of the year and securing her spot in the game. Then, almost as quickly, she was day-to-day again, and the season unraveled. Her critics see manipulation. Reese sees survival in a system where visibility is currency. And that's where the race angle comes crashing back into the conversation. To Reese, it's not just about who plays better. It's about who's allowed to make mistakes without it defining their entire career. Caitlin Clark has bad games, and the narrative is about her learning curve or mental toughness. Reese has a bad game, and it's attitude problems, poor branding, or selfish play. She's tired of it, and walking away, she says, is her way of rejecting a league that refuses to treat her on equal terms. The Gainbridge situation still gnaws at her. Remember, this was the highly anticipated showdown against Clark in Indianapolis, a game fans circled on their calendars months in advance, and yet Reese didn't even travel. Her camp cited safety concerns and rehab focus. Detractors called it ducking, but Reese now hints there's more to the story, that behind closed doors, certain league figures made it clear that her presence in that game would escalate tensions and distract from the product. She believes they didn't want her stealing any of Clark's spotlight, or worse, reigniting a rivalry they couldn't fully control. The blowback since then has been relentless. YouTube commentators, sports talk hosts, even former players have accused her of quitting on her team.
I have a take on Angel Reese that I'm sure will trigger a bunch of people, but I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky.
For the casual fan, that's all they need to hear. The seed is planted. But in Reese's mind, that narrative is exactly what the league wanted to happen. Because once the public turns on you, the league doesn't have to push you out. You're already halfway gone. And that leads to the most explosive accusation she's made yet, that her exit from the WNBA, whether temporary or permanent, is mutually convenient. She doesn't have to keep grinding through a hostile environment. The league doesn't have to keep promoting a player who challenges its marketing strategy and calls out racial bias. It's not just me leaving, she says in a recent conversation. It's them showing me the door and smiling about it. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn from personal grievance to systemic indictment. Reese has begun describing the WNBA as a place where, in her words, you can only be black in certain ways. Loud and confident? Fine, as long as it's marketable. Outspoken on racial issues? Fine, as long as it aligns with league messaging. But criticize the league itself? Question who gets pushed to the top and why? That's when the opportunities dry up. And if you think she's just speculating, remember this. She's been at the center of one of the most publicized rivalries in women's basketball in decades. She's seen sponsorship deals rise and fall based on a single press clip. She's been in the locker rooms, the boardrooms, and the back rooms. When she says the favoritism is real, she's speaking from the kind of insider position most players never get. So why go nuclear now? Because, according to Reese, she's got nothing left to lose. The Chicago Sky are in shambles. Her name is already being dragged, and the people she says are responsible aren't going to suddenly give her a fair shot. That's why she's calling them out, even if it means burning her bridges to the league entirely. And judging by the response so far, that's exactly what's happening. What's next? Well, Reese says she's going to spend the coming months focusing on her off-court ventures, modeling, endorsements, and, yes, potentially a tell-all project about her time in the WNBA. If she follows through, it could be the most damning insider account in the league's history. But for now, she's content to watch the chaos from the outside. And if her Instagram captions and cryptic tweets are anything to go by, she's not done talking. Because for Angel Reese, the WNBA isn't just an old job she's leaving behind. It's a cautionary tale, and she's determined to make sure the world hears it. She's probably a quitter. Critics love to boil this story down to one word, quitter, and on the surface, it's easy to see why. This is the third straight season Reese has not finished what she started. First, it was the mystery wrist injury in 2023, complete with dramatic warnings about future arthritis, that had her shutting down early. Then came the inaugural season of Unrivaled, where she bowed out before the championship game, claiming she was hurt. Now, in 2024, it's the vaguest back injury in the history of sports, as one commentator put it, sidelining her for months with nothing more than the recycled day-to-day excuse. But Reese insists that's not the real story. To her, this pattern isn't about physical fragility. It's about strategic survival. In a league she claims is stacked against her, the only power move is knowing when to remove yourself from the board entirely. And that's where the conspiracy theories start to get uncomfortably plausible. There's talk she's pulling a Dewana Bonner, sitting out to force a move. But the more persuasive theory among insiders is that the Sky are the ones playing the long game, holding on to her until the 2026 draft to maximize trade trade value. If they deal her at the right time, they might land a #1 pick, maybe even a generational talent like Paige Buckers. It's a chess match, and Reese says she's one of the few players in the league who actually knows she's on the board. The league, of course, will never admit to manipulating narratives, but the way her situation mirrors past cases is hard to ignore. A high-profile black athlete who refuses to fit the league's marketing mold suddenly finds herself on the wrong end of injury speculation, negative press, and whispered doubts about her commitment. It's a pattern older than the WNBA itself, and Reese is determined not to be the latest one. In her view, walking away before the league finishes the job isn't quitting, it's reclaiming control. But control comes at a cost. Every time she skips a game, especially high-profile matchups like the Fever rivalry in Indianapolis, she hands her critics another bullet. Social media erupts. Analysts pounce. Fans who once saw her as the fiery underdog now label her entitled, selfish, or worse. Reese says the league counts on this. Every wave of public outrage makes it easier to frame her eventual exit as a mutual decision, rather than a forced exile. What makes this feud so explosive is that Reese isn't just fighting for her career. She's fighting over the story of her career. She rejects the idea that she's just an athlete. In today's sports economy, she says, you're a brand first, a player second. And if you don't actively manage how that brand is perceived, you'll get steamrolled. Critics call that cynical. Reese calls it reality. It's why she doesn't apologize for skipping games but showing up at All-Star Weekend, even in the same city as a game she missed. To her, that's proof of her business instincts, not a sign of misplaced priorities. She's there when the cameras are rolling, when the sponsors are watching, when the exposure matters. The rest, negotiable. And then there's the word she's now using without hesitation, racism. In her eyes, the WNBA's marketing favoritism isn't just bias. It's rooted in deep-seated racial dynamics that the league refuses to confront. She points to the different standards applied to players like Caitlin Clark, who can be hyped endlessly without being accused of arrogance, and herself, who gets labeled too much for the same competitive fire. She's not claiming Clark is personally responsible. In fact, she's careful to separate the player from the machine around her, but she's crystal clear about the machine itself. It rewards whiteness, it rewards safe personalities, and it punishes anyone who steps outside the lines. And if you want to know how she's so sure, she says, just follow the money. Endorsements, media coverage, feature spots in league promos. Reese has watched them flow like clockwork toward a select few, while others, equally talented, equally marketable on paper, are told to be patient, or let the game speak for itself. The irony, the very qualities that made her a star at LSU, her confidence, her showmanship, her willingness to embrace the villain role, are the same ones the league now treats like liabilities. To Reese, that's not a coincidence, it's a message, and she's had enough. So when she says she won't play again, not just for the Sky, but potentially for the WNBA itself, it's not a bluff. It's a declaration of independence. She's already mapping out life beyond the league, high-profile modeling gigs, NIL-style partnerships that bypass team approval, and yes, potentially returning to Unrivaled, where the pay is better, the schedule is lighter, and the politics are less suffocating. The message is simple. She doesn't need the WNBA to be Angel Reese. If anything, she believes the WNBA needs her more than she needs them. But how true is that, really? How much influence does Angel Reese actually have? If Angel Reese actually decides to walk away from the WNBA, we need to know what that would really mean for everyone involved. First off, let's be real about what Angel brings to the table right now. She's been absolutely dominant in her rookie season with the Chicago Sky, setting the WNBA record for most rebounds in a single season with 13.1 rebounds per game and putting up 24 double-doubles. Those aren't just good numbers. Those are historic performances that put her in the conversation with the greatest rebounders the league has ever seen. When you're breaking records as a rookie, that's a pretty clear sign you're built different. But Angel's impact goes way beyond just the stats she puts up on the court. Her marketability, with endorsement deals like Reebok, Beats, and a Cash App partnership, has helped elevate the league's visibility. She's become this larger-than-life personality with her Bayou Barbie persona and her social media presence that just draws people in. Her Unapologetically Angel podcast and social media engagement amplify her influence, making her a key figure in attracting younger and diverse audiences. The thing is, Angel represents something really important for the WNBA right now. She's part of this new generation of players who aren't just great at basketball. They're building their own brands, connecting with fans in ways that previous generations couldn't, and bringing in audiences that the league desperately needs. Losing someone like that would be a massive blow to the WNBA's momentum. Alongside players like Caitlin Clark, Reese has driven record viewership and attendance, contributing to what some call the WNBA's golden era. When you think about the Clark-Reese rivalry and how much attention it's brought to women's basketball, losing Losing half of that equation would definitely hurt the league's ability to maintain that level of buzz and excitement. If Angel walked away tomorrow, the immediate impact would be felt most by the Chicago Sky organization. She's become a local icon in Chicago, someone who fills seats and sells merchandise. Her absence might reduce the buzz around rivalries, like the one with Clark, which has fueled media coverage and fan debates. The Sky would suddenly lose not just their best rebounder and one of their most productive players, but also their biggest marketing draw and fan magnet. For the Sky specifically, losing Angel would be devastating. They'd have to completely rebuild their identity and find new ways to market the team to fans. Angel has been the face of that franchise, and replacing that kind of star power and personality isn't something you can just do overnight. The team would probably see a significant drop in attendance, merchandise sales, and overall fan engagement. From a basketball perspective, the Sky would also be losing a player who brings a unique skill set that's incredibly hard to replace. Angel's rebounding ability is elite level, and finding someone who can even come close to matching her production on the boards would be a major challenge. The team relies heavily on her production and popularity, so losing her would probably mean a significant drop in their competitiveness as well. But let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture for the WNBA as a whole. The league isn't a one-player league, and stars like A'ja Wilson, who made history with a 30-plus point, 20-plus rebound game, and Jewel Lloyd with her scoring outbursts, keep the league competitive and exciting. The WNBA has been building depth in terms of star power and marketable personalities, so while losing Angel would hurt, it wouldn't completely derail the league's growth. The WNBA's growth trajectory, buoyed by a new media deal and expanding fan base, means it could absorb the loss, though it would miss Reese's unique flair and rebounding dominance. The league has been working hard to diversify its star power and not rely too heavily on any one player or rivalry, so they'd probably be able to weather the storm better than they would have a few years ago. Interestingly, the league's 2025 viewership and attendance have risen despite injuries to stars like Reese and Clark, suggesting resilience. This shows that while these players are incredibly important, the WNBA has been building a foundation that can survive even when its biggest stars aren't available. Now, let's talk about whether Angel leaving would actually be a smart move for her personally. Her decision to leave LSU early was driven by NIL restrictions and a desire to level up against top competition, showing she's strategic about her career. Angel has shown that she's willing to make bold moves when she thinks they'll benefit her long-term goals and career trajectory. If she quit the WNBA, it could be for valid reasons, say, to pursue opportunities in the unrivaled 3-on-3 league, where she's already played, or to focus on her growing off-court ventures. The unrivaled league might offer her better compensation, more flexibility, or opportunities that align better with her personal brand and business goals. Angel has been building a really diverse portfolio of business interests and brand partnerships. Her podcast, her social media presence, her endorsement deals. She's creating multiple revenue streams that don't necessarily depend on her playing in the WNBA. If she could make more money and have more control over her career by focusing on those ventures, it might actually make financial sense for her to step away from traditional basketball. The 3-on-3 format of Unrivaled might also be more appealing to Angel for other reasons. It's a smaller, more intimate setting where individual players can really shine and build their personal brands. The league seems more player-friendly in terms of allowing athletes to express themselves and control their own narratives, which might appeal to someone like Angel, who's faced so much criticism and controversy. But here's where things get tricky. There have been unverified claims about Angel demanding Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark's termination, which could be seen as impulsive if true, as it risks alienating fans and the league without clear justification. However, no reliable sources confirm she's quitting or has made such demands, so this remains speculative. If Angel were to leave over something like that, basically throwing a tantrum and making unrealistic demands, that would be a completely different story. That kind of exit would damage her reputation and make her look unprofessional. It would also hurt her future opportunities and make other leagues or business partners think twice about working with her. The key difference is between leaving strategically for better opportunities versus leaving emotionally because you're upset about something. Angel has shown she can be strategic about her career moves, so hopefully, if she does decide to leave, it would be for the right reasons and in the right way. From a broader perspective, Angel leaving could also set a precedent for other players. If she successfully transitions to Unrivaled or other ventures and makes more money while having more control over her career, other WNBA players might start considering similar moves. That could create a brain drain situation where the WNBA loses its best talent to alternative leagues or opportunities. The WNBA would need to take a hard look at what they're offering players in terms of compensation, working conditions, and career development opportunities. If players feel like they can get better deals elsewhere, the league might need to step up their game to retain top talent. But there's also the question of legacy and what Angel wants to accomplish in basketball. The WNBA is still the premier women's basketball league in the world, and if Angel has championship aspirations or wants to be remembered as one of the all-time greats, walking away from the WNBA might not be the best move for those goals. Angel's influence would still linger in women's basketball, whether through Unrivaled or her foundation's community work. She's built such a strong platform and following that she could probably maintain her influence and impact even if she's not playing in the WNBA. Her foundation work and community involvement show that she's thinking about her legacy beyond just basketball. The marketing and sponsorship implications would also be significant. Brands that have invested in Angel might need to reassess their strategies if she's no longer in the most visible women's basketball league. Some sponsors might follow her to whatever she does next, while others might shift their investments to other WNBA players. For fans, losing Angel would be heartbreaking, especially for those who see her as a role model and inspiration. She represents something important for young Black women who see themselves in her confidence, her style, and her unapologetic approach to being herself. Losing that representation in the WNBA would be a real loss for the league's diversity and appeal. The media would also have to adjust their coverage and narratives. So much of the current women's basketball storyline revolves around the Clark-Reese rivalry and dynamic. Without Angel, those storylines would need to evolve, and the media would need to find new angles and personalities to focus on. Ultimately, the impact would be moderate. Not catastrophic, but not trivial either. The WNBA would survive and probably continue growing, but it would definitely miss Angel's unique personality, her incredible rebounding ability, and the buzz she brings to every game she plays. If she left for calculated reasons, it wouldn't be delusional, but an emotional exit tied to unverified controversies could undermine her credibility. The key is how she handles it and what her reasons are. Angel has shown she's smart about her career moves, so hopefully, whatever she decides will be based on what's best for her long-term success and happiness. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out more amazing content on our channel. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.